big news this morning, obviously, is Justin Trudeau had a very substitute drama teacher moment where he was very emotional. And he said that he's quitting, but not actually quitting. He's rigging it so he can stick around for almost 3 more months. It's just the 6th of January. And he has announced that he's going to be prime minister until March 24th. And to make sure no one can do anything about it, he's dissolving parliament. He is removing any accountability from himself or his government, no question period, no committees, no nothing. And most importantly, no ability for the MPs to vote non-confidence in him. He's just telling them, thank you very little, we'll see you in March. And he's basically making the entire country wait so the Liberal Party can choose a successor to him. So even on March 24th, when he graciously puts down the crown, it's not going to be an election then, because then there's going to be a new Liberal leader who's going to try and stretch it out as long as possible before calling an election, because that new leader will want to brand themselves and do a few things first. So I think they're effectively buying themselves 6 months more of Liberal government. The latest opinion polls I saw last week by Angus Reid shows that Trudeau and his government are at 16% in the polls. I doubt that a new leader will change that much, given that every single Liberal candidate is complicit in this government. Even Mark Carney has boldly supported, carbon tax hikes, globalism. So this is not a day for democracy. This is an anti-democratic day. Let's play a couple of clips to show people how it went today. And then, Sheila, I'd love to get your reaction. Olivia,
I'm full of opinions on this.
Right on. Let's just play a few clips back to back, bam, 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 and then let's chat about it. Olivia, do you want to roll video number 1?
My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight.
That's a lie. He's not fighting here. He's ducking. He's
deeply.
dissolving parliament, so he doesn't have to fight. He's a liar.
I care deeply about this. And I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians.
That's not true. He's just stolen 90 days as prime minister.
Despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months. After what has been the longest session of a minority.
That's right, because he's illegally withholding documents.
Yeah.
That's why this morning I advised the Governor General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves
By the way, I correct myself. That doesn't necessarily mean he's gone on March 24th, does it?
No, not at all.
Having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option.
He just blamed internal battles, not himself. Right. He just said, I'm leaving because, those guys, those quarrelsome fellows, they're the problem. That's why I didn't do anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong in 9 years. He ends as he began. He's never apologized for a thing. He's good at apologizing for what Canadians do. He does that to differentiate himself. I'm deeply embarrassed for the genocide of this country. Right. Translation, I'm morally superior. I am like, he'll apologize for anything anyone in the past has done, which is sort of a oblique way of saying I'm better than anyone in history, I'm better than you, I'm better than the mere people. He manages to put himself outside of things as if he's not the primary actor in all of this. I'm resigning because of their infighting.
Yeah, everything that he does is a learning moment for the rest of us and never him, right? So for the next 3 months, we've got Prime Minister nobody wants, including his own party. He'll rule by fiat, I guess. And we're in the middle of a trade or tariff war with a president who regards him as an absolute joke. And what is our prime minister doing? Throwing the decision of who the next prime minister is back into the hands of the people who put him into power. The Liberal Party cannot be trusted. And actually, we know from the Public Order Emergency, or not the Public Order Emergency Commission, wrong commission under the Liberals, the Foreign Interference Commission, that the Liberal Party leadership race can be contaminated by foreign interference because you don't have to be a citizen and you don't have to put up any membership dues to be a member of the Liberal Party. I actually have that clip from Michael Chong saying that China could still have their man running the show. They haven't fixed any of those
you're
problems.
so right. Yeah, let's take a look at that clip.
The concerns that you have about nomination contests would also apply to leadership contests.
Yes, the concerns I have about nomination contests apply to leadership contests. In fact, my concern about leadership contests are even greater than my concern about nomination contests, and here's why. The nomination contest is not the end of the matter. When a person is elected or selected as the candidate for a registered political party, there is then a subsequent very important step, which is the election or by-election to elect that individual to the House of Commons. No such second step exists for the election of a party leader. And so if the vulnerabilities that have been exposed in testimony today and yesterday are in place for the election of a leader of a party, particularly of a party that has the majority of seats or commands the majority of support in the House of Commons, we are heads of government in this country, including prime ministers and premiers, to this foreign interference. What has happened in recent decades, both at the provincial and the federal level, is that party caucuses have deferred the election, the selection of party leaders to the registered political parties. And so we could have a situation here in Canada where a prime minister resigns from office, the registered political party conducts an election for the leader. That election, if subject to the same kind of rules that some of the parties have outlined here today and yesterday at the commission, would result in the appointment of a prime minister who does not have a seat in the House of Commons and who was elected through a process that was significantly compromised by non-citizens and by foreign state actors. And so that's...
You know what? It's an excellent point.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of leadership campaigns that are revving up right now. Dominique LeBlanc, Chrystia Freeland, Mark Carney. I think that there's a few joke candidates too. I bet you Melanie Joly. I think Francois Philippe Champagne. Who else do you think?
Christy Clark, I think.
Right, Christy
maybe.
Clark from BC. And then there'll be some absolute kook candidates. Not that the ones I've just listed are particularly sober-minded. So they're all busy. But I think the busiest place in the country right now in terms of the Liberal leadership is the embassy of the People's Republic of China. And they are probably right now taking bids, taking offers. Let me remind you about something astonishing. Olivia, see if you can Google this while in real time. Francois Philippe Champagne, he's this little guy from Quebec who's had a few different portfolios. I think one of his first portfolios was the Foreign Affairs Minister. Okay. He disclosed in his ethics disclosure that he had a mortgage from a government bank in China. So one of his apartments, because he's got many, of course, he had, I think it was like $1 million loaned to him by a Chinese government bank, an obscure Chinese government bank that does not do Yeah, there it is right there. And this is, I think, a CBC story. Champagne says he refinanced Chinese mortgages. So this is when he got out of it. After it was all over.
After he was caught.
Yeah, after he was caught. But how do you even do that? Like Sheila, I mean, I presume you have a mortgage. I have a mortgage. You go to your regular bank or you go to a mortgage broker. There's mortgage brokers who specialize if you're a little bit hard to if you're tough to get a mortgage, they'll get you maybe a higher rate. Like there's probably 100 companies in Canada that lend mortgages. The big banks, credit unions, like it's such a standard loan, and because it's secured with property, it's an easy loan to make. How do you even think to yourself, I'm going to go to a government of China bank that does not normally give home loans, and I'm going to get a mortgage from them, and I'm going to be the foreign minister of Canada at the same time as I owe the Chinese government $1 million? That's Francois Philippe Champagne. So normally I would say he's a joke, a quack. He's going to come in last place, but he is, as far as I know, the leading contender for the People's Liberation Army, People's Republic of China, Communist Party of China candidate. So don't be surprised if on election day, Francois Philippe Champagne gets his payoff.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the foreign interference on such a low level. Why wouldn't they meddle at a higher level? We saw them trucking in foreign students from out of a riding to vote for Han Dong, who's just a backbencher, but China wanted their man. Yeah. And so this is now China's opportunity to have their man in the prime minister's office, either with Champagne or somebody else. And as Michael Chong points out, this person does not have to be a sitting MP. It's the choice of the Liberals. And that's why what Justin Trudeau has done is so dangerous. After 9 years of arresting his critics, censoring his critics, and subjecting Canadians to all of Justin Trudeau's petty tyrancy, he still won't let Canadians have their say, and he's doing this in such a compromised way.